'Cause the great I am speaks over me.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And I am what I am, 'cause the great I am said he speaks over me.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Calls us his beloved. Say like I am what I am, 'cause the great I am said he speaks over me.
Test 1, 2. Good evening, church family and friends. We are so excited to see you here today. As you can see, there have been big updates since even last Sunday, if you are here or tuning in online. We welcome all of our new guests, first-time visitors, friends from other churches who are stopping by. We bless you. We thank you that you are joining us, that you are here with us. Our men have been working so hard, and now you have the comfort of that carpet under your feet because of it this past week. A huge blessing and just faithfulness of God to even get to this space. Every single week we are here and we're seeing the progress little by little. And today, believe it or not, marks 1 year that we are here in this building. So it was Civic Long Weekend of last year that we had our very first service. That was a backyard bash outdoors with a barbecue and service, if you remember that. And today marks 1 year since then. And God has been so faithful because this space was just filled with a bunch of stuff in the middle. If you remember when we did tours that night, and here we are at almost completion because of God's faithfulness in this season. And it's been a crazy year if you think about it. We had a change in pastors, change in service time, change in address. COVID crept up, we had so many things. We had to physically close the doors of this space, which is unimaginable for any church. Nobody wants to do that. And yet God has been with us every single step of the way. We are here for the third Sunday in a row, but our children were actually the first ones to use this space. So during one of our outside services that we had, the weather wasn't cooperating, and on June 21st, we had to take it all indoors. And in order to accommodate the current restrictions and regulations, we had the children here for their ministry part, and Carly had them complete an activity where she had them declare over this space the different things that they would want to see. And if I could just ask if that image could be projected onto the screen, this is the list that they have come up with of the things that our children, from little Martin's age to the youth, to grade 11 and 12, this is the list that they had generated. Isn't that amazing that we had little 5-year-olds and 7-year-olds and 10-year-olds coming up with this and declaring this over this house? And that's because eternal seeds have been planted in these little lives. One of our core values is legacy. And today not only marks 1 year of us being in this space, today actually marks 11 years since Pastor Jamie and Pastor Heather had the very first sanctuary service inside their living room. It was August 2nd, 2009. This week we were texting, and she had sent me a picture of her planner that she happens to still have from that year, and it had that marked as the first sanctuary service. So our kids are able to come up with these declarations because of the seeds that have been planted during those 11 years. It's not just something that develops overnight. And we could keep going further and further. The seeds that have been planted into Pastor Heather, Pastor Jamie, and the way that they've been obedient to that call. I'm sure they had many mountaintop moments, but I also know that they had a lot of valley moments during that time, and they could have easily thrown in the towel and just been a lukewarm Christian and be like, forget this is too hard, but they didn't. They were obedient to the call. They were faithful because they knew this is what God wanted to do. And today, we see the harvest upon us. We see where it has come. This space was sitting, we verified this past week, for 10 years, not doing anything. So this building was in construction, but 10 years ago when they got to this portion of the building, it was left dormant. until we came in last year. And it's not anything that we did, it's God's faithfulness in this. That vision is now coming to life 10 years later. That is not a coincidence. That is the goodness of God. I see so many just revelations between that we had 10 years of it just sitting here, but 10 years of seeds being planted by our founding pastors, right? We have 10 years of waiting, but not really. It's just that the harvest is now upon us. In the same way that the day of Pentecost, there was 10 days before the day of Pentecost actually arrived, when they had to go to the upper room. So today I just want to remind you of those words as we open up. And this is in Acts 1, verse 8, and I'm reading from the Passion Translation. This is Jesus speaking right before his ascension. But I promise you this, the Holy Spirit will come upon you, and you will be seized with power, and you will be my messengers to Jerusalem, throughout Judea, the distant provinces, even to the remotest places on earth. In London, in North America, in the Arctic, in Africa, around the world, that power will equip us. And if we move to chapter 2, it says, on the day of Pentecost was being fulfilled, all the disciples were gathered in one place. Suddenly, they heard the sound of a violent blast of wind rushing into the house from out of the heavenly realm. The roar of the wind was so overpowering, it was all anyone could bear.